Hello and welcome back to the Breadwinner Podcast. I am so excited to be with you today. This is the podcast where we talk all about building a thriving sourdough microbakery. I own a home-based sourdough microbakery. I am currently expanding to a storefront, but I am here to support all of the small bakers, whether you're from home or operating from a small commercial space. We are all about building burnout-proof businesses that support us, nurture our community, and create the space and time that we need to be present with our family as well. So today's episode makes sense because we are talking about our morning and evening routines. This is really important and easy to overlook, but something to not skip as a baker. Our sleep is one of our most precious commodities, and so it makes sense that sleep would be something to prioritize and to put some extra effort into to make sure that you are well rested, present, and able to show up as your best self in all areas of life. I'm going to share my own evening and morning routine, okay, the decisions that we make, how we structure it, and you can take what serves you, leave the rest, tweak to your own family's needs, because a morning and evening routine is not ever going to be one size fits all. What works for one family is going to be different for the next. So you can just take bits and pieces and apply it as you need to. The reason I feel like this is important to talk about is because having a routine, a set sequence of events for your morning and your evening helps in a lot of ways rather than just winging it for multiple reasons. So a routine, any type of routine, but in this context of morning or evening routine, helps reduce decision fatigue because you already have established your sequence of events, and so you don't have to sit down and think about it each day about how to have a good morning. You already have planned it out. Helps you stay present and focused, again, because you've already planned out this routine. You don't have to think about what to do next. You just roll into that rhythm. It helps protect your energy for your high priority tasks. It helps minimize distractions. So I find that if I am not following an established routine, I'm a lot more likely to just bounce around from one thing to the next rather than having a planned out schedule or planned out rhythm. Full transparency, I do not do this well every single day. There are days where it goes much better than others, and those are the days where I feel more focused, more energetic, more present for the things that matter. And the days where I just drift from one thing to the next without a lot of planning or intention are the days where I end the day feeling like I could have done it a lot better. Like I did not necessarily give my time to the things that mattered most or stay present in the moments where I needed to be. And so having a routine is just so important in showing up as the best version of yourself in all of your areas. So I encourage you to think of your routine as a framework for your ideal day. It's not a rigid schedule. The beauty of a routine is that it is fluid. It can ebb and flow with your days because no 2 days are ever going to look exactly the same, especially if you have kids around, you've got other commitments, family, other things happening that will throw curveballs inevitably. So a routine allows you to have a framework. It allows you to have structure to fall back on, but not to be totally thrown off if your schedule needs to change. So with all of that foundation, with that perspective laid, I'm just going to walk through my own routines, what that looks like as a family. And we're going to start with the evening. The evening kind of lays the groundwork for a great morning. We need to look at it in the reverse too, but for me, it makes sense to start with the evening. So we are early evening people. We tend to have a really early dinner, and we even moved that earlier in the past several months. So we shoot for a 4 to 4:30 p.m. dinner, which sounds crazy, maybe if you are used to the more traditional like 6, 7 p.m. dinner. But what we found is that we had a really hearty breakfast, we had a light lunch, and then we have a really intentional dinner. And usually we have leftovers, and we sit down as a family. Now, my husband is a firefighter, so he works 24-hour shifts, which means he's gone every third day. But even when he's not, the kids and I try to sit down, and I'm not always 100% great at this when he's gone. Sometimes I'm putzing around the kitchen while the kids are eating. For the most part, the majority of our meals are seated at the table as a family. We have a deck of conversation cards, and we like to pull those cards out and ask a couple of questions while we eat. So this is just a really intentional time in our evening. And then after that, we clean up the kitchen. We sometimes play a board game or just hang out and start to wind down and get ready for bed around 7 p.m. Again, that might sound crazy early to you. That's what works for our family. And it's the routine that we've been in for a long time. And so it just works. So while the kids are getting their pajamas on, brushing their teeth, tidying up, whatever needs to be done, that's when I would feed my starter if I'm preparing for a dough day. So I spend 15-20 minutes doing that while they're doing their evening things, and they're 7 and 8. So they're really independent in this part of the evening. It's not hands-on like it would have been a few years ago for me as a parent. So they do their thing. I'm here to keep things moving forward. My husband's very supportive too in this when he's home. And then once they're ready to be tucked in, we just do a real quick little tuck-in. We get them set up with their books and say goodnight. And then that is when they go to bed and husband and I go to bed. We aren't a real big TV family, so rather than sitting down and winding down with the show, we just head to bed. We usually wind down reading a book, sometimes looking at our phones. We do try to limit the phone time at night and turn on like a red filter on our screens to limit the blue light. Some nights we do better with this than others. I will say my husband being away on shift every third night, those nights I don't do it as well usually. I stayed up way too late doing this really last night and going down research rabbit holes. And just as I turned off my phone, I thought of another thing that I just really in the moment felt like I needed to research. A healthier routine would have been to have a notepad beside me, write down a note so I don't forget it for the morning. But again, I don't do this perfectly every night. But in an ideal world, we would put down the phone somewhere between 7 and 8, pick up a book, read for an hour or so before turning off the lights around 9 or 9:30. And my husband is very intentional about his sleep. He values it very highly to get a quality night of sleep because every third night, who knows what might happen. So he has a whole supplement regimen. I sometimes to take what he does, I don't really even know all the things. I find that I like to drink valerian tea. The traditional medicinals brand, it makes 99 extra and valerian in it. And that just helps me feel like I have a more restful, restorative, deep sleep where I'm not waking up throughout the night. While I sip my tea, I like to do my skincare. I am in my skincare as self-care era. It just makes me feel good. So I like to wash my face. I put on a toner, serum, and moisturizer. I don't use them every single night, but I really like frownies. It's like a paper that dries hard on your forehead or wherever you need it to help minimize fine lines. I figure it can't hurt. And I wake up feeling good. My skin feels healthy. And I find that when my skin feels healthy, I just feel better in general. Once that's all done, we turn off the lights. Our bedroom is set up to prioritize sleep as well. So we have blackout curtains. We sleep in a completely dark room. So anything with a light, like our air purifier, is turned down or turned off. So there's not little glowing light here and there. We turn the AC down so it's quite cool and have the ceiling fan on because you get a much, much deeper, more restorative sleep if you're sleeping in a cool, dark room. It's just scientifically proven. So we try to optimize that environment. We do have a little dog and he likes to sleep in the bed with me. Won't sleep with my husband for some reason. He has to be pressed up against me and he hogs the bed. Sometimes I let him do it. Most of the time, I know that I sleep a lot better if he's not in the bed with me. So I'll close him in the crate and make sure that he stays in his bed while I get a better night's sleep. So just one of those little tweaks for a better sleep. If I know that I need to feel really rested, I am 100% going to close that crate so he stays there and doesn't try to sneak up into bed with me. Now, with a solid night's sleep, I'm usually ready to go in the morning. And obviously bake days are going to start really early, usually between 3 and 4 for me. And I don't have much of a morning routine on those days. It's a roll out of bed, maybe throw on a little bit of clothes, pull up my hair, and turn on the oven and get going. And then after a few hours, kind of once the kids are up, then I roll into the morning routine. But on days when I'm not baking, We get up usually in the 7 o'clock hour. And pretty much every day starts with the kids climbing in bed, cuddling with me for 15 minutes or so. We just chat, talk about the day. They always have ideas to share, things to talk about. And that slow little bit of time with the phone put away, just spending time with the kids, it sets the tone for all of us, I think, for a day that is just focused on the race. So most days, that is pretty much a non-negotiable, is that little cuddle time. I think the kids love it just as much as I do. Once we get out of bed, I usually step outside, let the dog out, water the garden, and stand barefoot outside for a couple minutes. Even just 2 or 3 minutes just helps wake me up and feel more ready to go in and start the day. The next thing I do is get fully dressed. I like to get fully dressed right away in the morning. I find that if I am fully dressed, I just feel so much more productive rather than if I stay in pajamas or sweats or comfy clothes for most of the day, or even just the first part of the morning. So intentionally putting on clothes and then skincare again are the two things that really help me feel the most ready for the day. So my morning skincare is similar. I wash my face. I use toner, serum, and a moisturizer, just like a hard, a funky kidney shaped thing that you is supposed to help with lymphatic drainage. Some people say it's a gimmick. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It could be a total placebo effect. Bottom line for me, it feels really good. It helps me just feel more awake, alert. My skin, face feels fresh. And so it's a great way to start the day. I don't do it every single day, but more mornings than not, I like to sit down and spend a little time on skincare. Maybe swipe a mascara, a little bit of under eye concealer if I feel like I need it. But it's pretty minimal. It's just that washing skin moisturizer that helps set the tone. Once that's all done, we head for a good hearty breakfast. We like a solid protein heavy breakfast in the morning most days. A lot of times we will prep ahead for the week with a breakfast casserole. We just do potato hash browns, eggs, and sausage, and we bake it all together in a big 9x13. And then we can just cut a chunk and warm it up for breakfast, and it's ready to go. It's ferments, distilling, and it gives us the sustained energy for the day. If we don't have that prepped, sometimes I have English muffin breakfast sandwiches in the freezer that we can thaw and heat. And if not, we'll just usually do a pan of eggs and maybe some toast and yogurt. Something hearty and filling. I have a bad habit sometimes of skipping breakfast, and I 100% know that I feel so much better when I don't. And so I really try to make sure that I don't get too caught up in whatever the day holds and fail to take time to actually eat some good breakfast. Some people hear me say that and are like, you are crazy. I've never skipped a meal in my life. It's just, I don't know. It's part of my ADHD. It's really easy for me to get going and forget to sit down and eat. And so that's something I have to be really intentional and mindful of. Along with breakfast, while I'm preparing that, usually I'll make my coffee. I love a shot of espresso with about 8 ounces of steamed raw milk and a splash of maple syrup. It is my favorite. So comforting. Part of the comfort, I think, is just the ritual of the warm drink and the preparation of it. So we have a slow coffee routine. We have to weigh the beans and grind them and prepare the puck. And I'm not like a professional barista or anything, but just the routine of putting together a really good cup of coffee feels like such an intentional part in the morning. And so that's 5 minutes or so of just putting together that good coffee. And then I like to sip it slowly. Whenever possible, I sit down, maybe I read a book, maybe I just scroll, check my emails sometimes, or hang out with the kids. If it's a crazy morning, I sip it on the go, and usually it's absolutely lukewarm by the time I finish it. But either way, just having that good coffee is a really important part of my morning. If I don't have it, I definitely notice a difference in the way I feel that day. And that's really it. That's my morning and evening routine in a nutshell. It is not elaborate. It is not, I don't sit down and journal for 30 minutes or meditate or do a yoga flow. Those things might be a part of your morning routine. Like I said, they're not one size fits all. If something in my routine feels like it's not for you, just leave it alone. If you want to replace it, and maybe take a morning walk, do some light exercise and stretchings, reading, meditation, prayer, whatever serves you. The important thing with a routine is that it's spot out ahead of time that it's a structure, not a rigid requirement, and that it serves you well and that it leaves you feeling ready for the day. I would say start small and build over time. If you struggle with getting to bed on time, let that be the first thing you focus on. Maybe think about optimizing your bedroom, whether that's just putting out blackout curtains or turning down the AC at night just a little bit if you're in an area with AC to make it a little cooler, or even just drink a cup of tea before bed for a couple of weeks. Commit to just one tweak and add on when that one feels good. If you try to 100% overhaul your morning and your evening routine completely all at once, you won't stick with it. It's just the reality. We can't completely overhaul and expect it to be a sustainable change. So your morning routine and your evening routine do go hand in hand. They complement each other. It's really hard to have a solid morning routine without a solid eating routine and vice versa. So tweak little bits on each side, but don't expect to go from like a midnight bedtime to a 9 p.m. bedtime and commit to it and do it perfectly all the time forever if you are not in that rhythm already. The most important part is that you are making choices that prioritize your health, prioritize the energy that you have and the way that you can show up for your business, for your household needs, for yourself. Because if you're not taking care of yourself with some level of intentionality, you are going to burn out. We're anti-burnout here. We are not about that life. And so all of the choices that you can make to ensure that you are setting yourself up for success, that is just the direction we're heading. So as always, give yourself grace and allow yourself to do it imperfectly and celebrate little wins. Celebrate the night that you go to bed 30 minutes earlier, or the morning that you eat a solid breakfast before rolling into all of the craziness, or you take a slow moment to pause before, again, rolling into the craziness. Even if you are kicking off the morning with kid drop-offs and getting kids out the door, you can still take a 2-minute step outside and put your feet in the ground. Step outside barefoot for 2 minutes and just breathe. And that 2 minutes alone can have a really strong impact on the rest of your day. As always, I am absolutely cheering you on. Your business needs you to be your best self and your family, and you owe it to yourself. You deserve to feel good. So I hope this felt encouraging, felt supportive, and felt inspired to give yourself a moment to think about how to tweak your evening and morning routine in a way that serves you. If this episode resonated with you, maybe if you know someone who could benefit from it, send it their way so that they can listen and be inspired as well. Whenever you share the show, it helps other people find it as well, and it kind of triggers in the algorithm to show the show to more people. So it means a lot when you do share or when you take a moment to write it for a review. That always just absolutely makes my day. If you haven't followed the show yet, make sure that you do so that you don't miss an episode. They drop every week, and they're always jam-packed with tactical, practical insights for growing and thriving Sourdough Microbakery. As the summer winds down and we're moving into fall, and I now have a dedicated office space to record, I'm going to be bringing guests back on this show here and there too, so I'm really excited about that. Stick around because it has some good ones coming up. I have a few who are waiting in the wings, and I'm really excited to get them schedules and get to chat with them. I have missed the interview shows while I do what the solos. It's just so invigorating to get to chat with others. Stick around. That'll be coming in the next month or so. In the meantime, I will be back soon with another episode. But until then, happy baking.